The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
What's going on, Octo Nation? Today we're going to be taking a look at Lucid, and we've already done a video on them. If you haven't seen the first one, check that out. We had some other plays we were thinking the directions they could have gone. I found some puzzle pieces that are starting to really line up, and I have to let you know about it. I have to let y'all know about it. Take a look at this. So, first of all, the connection here we're looking at is for CCIV, which is the ChurcHill boys, the ones who the past two SPACs that they were putting out are just not looking good. One was Multiplan, which is actually on paper looks great, but it's health and it just didn't do well. Health doesn't do well for SPACs. It is what it is. The other one they're working on is that weird middleman play for businesses, the CCX. It was supposed to be Topgolf. However, of course, they got another one out, CCIV. And this one, they haven't announced target yet, and it's still pretty new on the system, but just wait till what we have to see here. Take a look at this. We are not prohibited from pursuing an initial business combination with a company that is affiliated with our sponsor, founder, officers, or directors. In the events we seek to complete our initial business combination with a business that is affiliated with our sponsor, founder, officers, or directors, we or a committee of our independent and disinterested directors will obtain an option from the independent investment banking firm that is a member of the financial industry regulatory, blah, 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 blah. What does that mean? Unlike most SPACs where they come out and say, we have no idea who's going to be brought to market, we're not affiliated with anyone. These people are like, we are not prohibited from pursuing initial business combination with people that we already know. Also in the SEC filing, it says, while Mr. Klein, Michael Klein is the head honcho dude that's basically running the ChurcHill stuff. The dude is insanely smart. He's worked for Citigroup. All this international money moving through Citigroup and all that for years has been through Michael Klein. If you don't know anything about him, just look him up. Tons and tons of information about him out there. Super, super duper smart guy. While neither Michael Klein and company nor any of the strategic and operating partners will have any duty to offer acquisition opportunities to us, they may become aware of potential transactions that is an attractive opportunity for us, which they may decide to share with us. So that means Mr. Klein might know someone he might want to bring in, but he might not, but he might want to share it. Okay? Information to pay attention to, right? Now we're going to take a look at an article about Mr. Michael Klein and his connections to the Middle East, how he is an expert at the Credit Suisse. His election to the board of the Credit Suisse may have gone by almost unnoticed in Switzerland, but Michael Klein's business interests ranging from oil-rich Saudi Arabia to the U.S. philanthropists no doubt are top-notch. The man has never granted an interview. Those who agree to talk about him prefer to do it on condition of anomaly. Too big is the concern of upsetting Michael Klein, pictured below, and to be left out of the next of his big mini deals. Big deals is what Mr. Klein is all about, and he has proven as much recently. The U.S. investment banker is one of the brains behind the biggest IPO ever, the $25.6 billion partial listing of the oil producer Saudi Aramco. For sure, since its IPO in early December, the stock has declined some 7%, and the killing of Iranian general and the implications this have for the whole Middle East may do yet more harm to that one. Matchmaker for commodity giants. It comes as just another fly in the ointment for Credit Suisse, which was one of the co-lead managers in an IPO that didn't quite go as planned. Klein, who sits on the board of the Swiss bank, will likely have plenty on his hands as the situation in the region deteriorates. The former Citigroup banker and owner of consultancy firm M. Klein & Company based in New York was elected to the board of the Switzerland's second largest bank in April 2018, an election that was hardly noticed by anybody in Switzerland. At most, observers may see and have asked themselves what an investment banker of this high-profile network of contacts in the commodities industry would be bringing to the board of the bank. Klein, for instance, was instrumental in organizing talks that proceeded with merger between Glencore and Xstrata. After all, Credit Suisse is formed mainly on its wealth management and sustainability. Here's the dude. Advising the state fund. Within hindsight, the timing was spot on. The race to get a piece of the Aramco IPO deal was already on, and Klein evidently had firm relations to the highest places in the kingdom. Reports in the media suggested that he helped restructuring the oil from in the run-up to the IPO. The 55-year-old American banker is an important advisor to the Public Investment Fund, PIF, of the Saudi State Fund. He already had advised PIF during the takeover of the petrochemical firm SPAC to Aramco. He's very, very connected with big oil, right? And that PIF fund. But again, all over America to Switzerland, people bring this guy in. You can keep reading about him if you want. This is on my site. So I got a message from WB5859 on StockTwits, and he said, hey, in addition to the Saudi Arabia connection, Andrew Leveris, the chairman of Lucid Motors, is operating partner of CCIV. CCIV is that ChurcHill, right? So we've got a connection there. Here's a proof right here. Here's that Andrew Leveris for ChurcHill Capital IV. And then when you go to Lucid, guess who's the first person that they mention for the leaders, for the board of directors? The chairman of the board, Mr. Andrew Leveris. So he's on CCIV and on Lucid, one of the top dogs. Andrew's the former chairman and CEO of the Dow Chemical Company and the former executive chairman of Dow DuPont. He has over 40 years of global leadership experience at the Dow Chemical Company, and his career spans roles in manufacturing, engineering, sales, marketing, management. He's a director of IBM, Saudi Aramco. You hear that? He's also a director at Saudi Aramco. There's another correlation with Mr. Klein, right? Worley and you might have heard of this one we've talked about, Novanix. Remember that battery play? We talked about, Novanix? He is also on the advisory board for Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation and NEOM, an initiative driven by the Saudi Vision 2030. He was appointed as a special advisor to the Public Investment Fund, PIF, and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. You already seeing all those correlations there? It keeps going. How about another ChurcHill operating partners? This is ChurcHill Capital number 2. Oh, look at that. There's Andrew Leveris too. So they've been homies for a long time, Mr. Klein and Andrew Leveris. And Andrew Leveris is the top dog right now for Lucid. What do you think? Now, remember how Michael Klein has been working for and with the Public Investment Fund of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the PIF. Check this out. This is the second dude listed on Lucid's team, right? This guy Tariqi, is the head of international investments at the Public Investment Fund of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the PIF. Again, one of the largest sovereign wealth funds of the world, he has held a number of leadership positions in the career spanning global finance, investment, and asset management. Turkey, am I saying that wrong? Saying it right? Previously served as a senior advisor to PIF. He was also the senior advisor for PIF. You don't think that all these guys are homies? They have been for years. Prior to which he held several executive roles at Saudi Fransi Capital, a leading financial services based in Saudi Arabia. Most recently, the Saudi capital Tariq served as the head of asset management for his career. Keeps going and going and going. This guy's got his MBA from the University of San Francisco and a BA in international business from the King Saud University. You ready for more? Saudi Arabia owns more than half of Lucid Motors. A new lawsuit confirms that California EV startup gave up a lot of the kingdom's $1.3 billion by Sean O'Kane. California EV startup gave up majority ownership of Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund in exchange for $1.3 billion investment it closed last year. According to an email from the company's lawyers, that was included in a lawsuit filed on Wednesday. The lawsuit was filed by Lucid Motors' former head of finance, Doug Gotes, who believes he's entitled to certain severances benefits based on the language of the deal he signed with the company. Gotes argues he's eligible for these benefits because the Saudi Arabian investment triggered a change in control clause in his agreement with Lucid Motors because it resulted in a change in the majority shareholder of the company. Right? So this guy was involved, and then he's basically saying he didn't sign off saying that he agrees to let the Saudis come in and buy the majority of the company. Right? Because the Saudis came in and bought $1.3 billion, which puts them over 50% owner of the company, which is over majority. According to the email from his lawyer, so to the startup sent last year, that means Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, PIF, owns more than 50% of the company's shares. It's not only that bank that Mr. Klein has been advising for forever and helping with all these deals and all the other guys involved, they own the company for the most part. They own over 50% of Lucid. Wait, there's more. Saudi sovereign wealth fund sells off shares in Berkshire, but buys spiders and SPACs. All right, so same company here with Saudis now, at PIF. Based from SEC filing data from June 30th, 2020, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, PIF, sold off shares in its early 2020 buying binge. PIF sold off some of 200,000 shares of Berkshire Hathaway, good, reducing its direct ownership position by around 50%, while increasing listing ownership in Live Nation Entertainment, Suncor Energy, they're doing good there right now. Carnival, remember y'all heard about the Saudis that were buying Carnival? These guys. I don't know if I'll ever understand that deal, why they did that. And automatic data processing. PIF also invested in a SPAC. Which SPAC is that? How about a ChurcHill Capital III? And who's involved with the ChurcHill Capital III? The head chairman, the middle dude, Michael Klein. Which is run by Michael Klein, M. Klein and Company. In fact, even Michael Klein, right? That's basically ChurcHill, who has strong ties to the Saudi government. Oh, he does, you say? PIF also invested around $4.6 billion in spiders, SPDers, exchange-traded funds of State Street Global Advisors, State Street. These spiders in the United States sector, Spider Fund, Materials Sector Fund, Real Estate. PIF kept its 72,840,000 shares of Uber Technology untouched from the two reporting periods. That was smart. What do you think? I mean, you cannot deny that these people do not only know each other, they don't just brush shoulders. They've been working with each other for a long time. All the previous ChurchHills, not all of them, but we know of 3 that they're involved with, right? Direct correlations. Anything Michael Klein works with, you know, the Saudis are pretty much backing. You know, this. I didn't look into this, but I bet you the Saudis own a lot of his fund though too. You know, of course they probably do. Why wouldn't they? You know, because he's helping advise them. It's the whole buddy thing. I mean, and now the people that he's working with the most, with the biggest amount of money, invested over 50% in this company of Lucid, and then the people running Lucid are all his homies too. I mean, come on. The weird thing about CCIV though, and why this seems a little off to me, is that it's newer, right? I think CCIV launched like, I don't know, well, the warrants are out, so I guess not. I guess it's been at least 2 or 3 months. So I guess that'd still work. It's also a big SPAC. I think it's like $1 billion, so they could definitely come in and swoop up Lucid. I mean, with $1 billion though, if 1.3 is just over the majority, that means $1 billion is going to be close to 40-ish%. But as we know, a lot of these SPAC deals, their value, when they create the value of them, they're like, well, what will they be in 4 years from now? So when they do the deal, they could say, well, we're going to project it, go off projected revenue, projected whatever, and say we're actually worth 10 million. So if Klein actually brings in 1 billion, they might actually say now, oh, that's only worth 10% of the company, whatever. I don't really care about that stuff. All I care about is who's going to get the deal and what's the target. And are other people going to care about the target other than me? Okay. What do you guys think? This all totally makes sense. I mean, as far as target, they're basically targeting, they leave them kind of open, right? They just say, we're going to go through our management, there might be some correlation, but they didn't come out and say, we're looking for electronic vehicle company, nothing like that. They didn't call themselves like the green SPAC, like Soak. But I know how business works, and it's usually most of the time on relationships that make the last big determining factor on things. It's usually somebody who's got a friend or a long-term friend or friends that are like, yeah, we're going to go together on this. Why would we go with Soak? Why would they go? I mean, really, why would they go with Soak if they've already got all these connections? I'm pretty sure Klein would probably be pretty pissed, right? It's like, dude, you guys they can literally make the decision because they own the majority of Lucid, right? They should be able to say, no, we are going to go through ChurchHill. And these companies are going to be buying ChurchHill right before that. Or they might wait till right after because it might be illegal to do that. But whatever, that happens all day long. What do you guys think? You already in this one? Talked about a little bit, a good place to park some money. The negative, though, is like I was talking about at the beginning, is the last two are no good, no good. And CCX still hasn't even officially announced. They might still pivot and go back to Topgolf, which would then be good for them. I know obviously Klein has definitely a reputation to protect because ChurchHill is one of the top dog SPACs out there. So he pays attention to what they do before and after LOI and all that. So he knows that he's got to make a good splash, but I still think with all the connections here, this seems pretty much no-brainer. The commons on this are like dumb parked at like $9.85 or something, pretty much below trust-ish right there. I mean, the warrants are sitting like $1.25, $1.35, $1.45, something like that. Kind of high if you think about it when we're just talking about price, but not for $1 billion MERS. Not for $1 billion MERS. That's actually pretty low. Like Jaws, I think the lowest that's gone is $1.57. So how much lower can those go for the warrants? I don't think they're going to go much lower, but you never know. How about some more news? We're going to jump into news for today. Chamal's SPACs came out. If you're on our Patreon, I let you know like 1 or 2 minutes after they came out. Could have gotten a quick little flip. You could have flipped some bills real fast, or just know that you got in right at almost the bottom. They did all right. Let's take a look at them though. So IPOE, this one popped at like $1.43, came all the way up to $1.70, settled around like 10.50ish. That's that middle dog, right? IPOF is the $1 billion dog, and this thing actually launched right out the gate at like $10.13 and popped all the way up to $10.46, settled about halfway down. And then the small one, so the bottom two, the IPOD and IPOE, Chamath came out and said that those are actually getting more money. So he's actually upping the MERS on the first two, the IPOD and the IPOE. And oddly enough, the lowest one did the best, which is kind of crazy to me. I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought the most expensive one would run, but this could just be the first day they're, this was the first one that was out. 2 was the lowest one, so people could have went, whatever one opens, I can buy the first. I'm just going to go all in on that one. That could have happened too. Regardless, I think they're all going to run. It is what it is. Just, if you don't believe me, go look at the other past 2 charts for IPOC and IPOB, and then go look at the targets and then try to figure out why they went up. Might paint you a story. Fusion acquisition. They updated their website. I'm not finding anything. My eyes haven't found it. Have you found anything? I haven't. I've listened to a couple more interviews with them. They just kind of sound like they're on the right track. I mean, they're obviously super professional, still one of the best in the game. But they got a new site and it's really nice. Why they remade the site, I'm not sure, but it's a super nice site. I didn't find any new information. Did you guys find any? Something to pay attention to. Usually when site updates happen, it means something, but I don't know. They didn't really change the background or nothing, so whatever. Let's take a look at SPY. See how we're doing here. We rallied. Dude, we rallied. We got into another channel too. Unfortunately, we still never filled this gap back down here that we've been talking about like 332. So I'm sure we are going to end up back down there. But I'm a little bit happy that we rallied this hard. Even after hours. Look at this. We did it at 346.83. We're up after hours to 347.71. We're up almost $1 after hours. Wow. The real question now is, are we going to hit these real previous all-time highs up at 358? Can you imagine how hard that wall is going to be to break? Or are we just going to slice through it like butter, fake everyone out, everyone jumps in, and then it will pull a rug? It still is kind of an unbelievable market. We definitely got a couple more little gaps here too. Just protect yourself. Remember those hedges. Remember those hedges we talked about. If you don't know, go watch my video what to do when the stock market's going down. Of course, QQQ looks about the same. It went super high. Inverse head and shoulders, definitely looking like that on this one, and it broke above it. So we're technically in bull, but to me it's a sketchy bull. What do you think? The plays you want me to take a look at, please put them down in the comments. If you're not on our Twitter or our StockTwits, please add us on there. If you're on our Patreon, jump on there. I'm throwing you deals here and there hours before everyone else. I let you know what the videos are going to be about for the day. Lots of good information. We're already starting to build a decent community out there. Eventually, we are going to move to some sort of other social platform with it. That way we can kind of chat together and bounce better ideas off of that. And if you wouldn't mind sharing this video with your friends, it definitely helps out, and you'll have a good rest of the day.
Did you know that we give away free silver? Simply leave a comment on the video, and as long as you're in the continental United States, you can be automatically entered to win. Please friend us on Twitter and StockTwits.